out of those 15 deals, what's your biggest deal? And what are do you have a total commission amount you're going to be making?
The total amount that I'm looking at, although I didn't add the most recent too, but it's going to be around like 150K. It's going to be around that.
Holy moly, 150K. Let's go, Belinda. Hey guys, welcome back to another interview. I am here with the legendary Belinda. She's shaking her head no, but I'm here with the legendary Belinda, and super excited. She's got, I think you said 15 deals under contract?
And like 25 follow-ups.
15 deals under contract, 25 follow-ups. And how long have you been calling?
Definitely less than a month. I wish I organized which days I actually made calls because I've been doing so many different things. Yeah. But I would say under 25 days of, I would say under 21 days of straight calling. Like I haven't made my day about calling in the business for more than 21 days. And that's not including education. Like I did take my time with the education. Yeah. And I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I took my time with like the email template, and I took my time with figuring out my marketing and all that jazz.
Right. So 15 deals, 21 days of actually marketing, which is ridiculous. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it goes to show how powerful coming in with the right mindset, the right education, all that is. But I always like to start these interviews with kind of just a beginner, like coming from where, your background and learning, okay, Belinda started here. Did you try anything as far as making money and all that before surplus funds? Did you do another real estate business? Did you do another business at all? Like where did you start with that?
Yeah. Oh man. Well, wholesaling. I know a lot of, so much, wholesaling as well as Airbnb, God, I've done so much. I was about to curse, I'm sorry, but I've done a lot of stuff in real estate. And so I guess, that's where I was coming from. And I had been in residential single family real estate for a couple years. I started in real estate really young. And I also sort of, and I don't know how I was able to slide into these sort of situations, but I slid into like great circles, influence, people with influence, and got into commercial deals as well, like small hotel deals and things like that. But I think sometimes I can be a charmer. But I mean, so I would slide into those sort of real estate situations and soak up all that knowledge and be like, I'm young, I'm ready, and be willing to take whatever extra grunt of work for the experience type of thing.
Right.
But that mindset and being in real estate definitely helps, but I don't think you have to have already been in real estate to do this, because you and David make it so easy.
Well, thank you, Belinda. So appreciate that. So you joined, and then you said you took some time with the education. And how long from when you joined to when you started actually making your first marketing? I'm assuming you did cold calling or
cold calling.
How long was that process of just kind of educating yourself on it?
So there's never not been multitasking, but when I did start making calls, I made my whole, I put other people in charge of other stuff. Yeah. And I really just focused on calls, results. But let's say, give or take, the education side, like 3 weeks or a little more. Like it doesn't take anywhere near that long. If I was only focusing on that, I probably would have gotten it done within a week.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And then I know we talked about this very beginning of the call. So then you start making calls, and at this point you've made 21 days of calls, roughly, right? Roughly. Yeah. And you've got 15 deals under contract and submitted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And these are state fund deals and tax deals?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Now, I know we talk about in the course, we talk about state fund, mortgage, tax, and bankruptcy. Why did you pick those two in particular?
I was already researching and looking into tax overages before I found you. Mm-hmm. And then when you guys brought in state funds and you guys are like, start this first. So I just started starting it first. Yeah, as soon as I was doing the education, I was like, I guess I'm going to start this first. And I'm not going to move to the other thing until I get some of these under contract. But because of how I'm always massive action, because you kind of have to be to make sure you're getting one deal a day or whatever the case.
Right.
But in the midst of that, you end up having other follow-ups, not just the one deal to, you know, complete the whole get a state, you know, state funds deal done. But when I had a couple, like 4 or 5 state funds deals, then I focused on the tax overage deals, where I could charge a little more, which is why the amount I'm going to get in return is just going to be nice.
So you started with state fund. Your first deal was state fund. Now, I know we shared in a second here, and I want you to share your philosophy on how you go about it, because I know you were inspired by Julio, one of our surplus warriors as well. But did you, for that first deal, did you have that mindset coming into it? Like, kind of what is the story behind that first deal, and how did you go about getting it? And I'm kind of just curious about that process for you.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I guess there's always like a, what do they want to call it? Coming to Jesus moment. There's, there is that moment of, you know, is this going to work? Probably for people with no experience at all, more than me, because I'm really used to like, let's just do it. You know, I don't know what's going to work. What's going to work. But even for someone like me who's used to just jumping into things and going all out, there's still that coming to Jesus moment where that first deal is that thing that creates that second click in your head. Like where you're ready to like pop the ammo and like just twirl off. Actually, it's a horrible analogy. I was about to talk about a machine gun.
You're ready to go all in with that confidence.
Yeah.
I got a deal. This is going to work, and you're ready to kind of dive into it. Gotcha.
Because we can make imaginary excuses in our head sometimes before we get that first deal. And then after that, you can't really make those excuses anymore.
Right. Okay. So that first deal, interesting. Okay. Now you shared with me off camera. You said, Spencer, I watched one of the interviews, Julio. In fact, if you want to share that real quick, I think that's a really powerful statement.
Yeah. The interview that really resonated with me the most was Julio's interview. And they were all great. I mean, but I loved that he was sort of, that you could tell that Julio was like, you know, just get one in every day and then, you know, move on to the next. Because no matter how much money you're making, if your mentality and your habit is to make sure you're always getting one in, and that's something that you can teach your team when you start building a team, etc. I mean, that's just, to me, that was so powerful. And to add to the other thing that I picked up in regard to just my experience is that whether it's wholesaling or surplus funds or whatever it is, when you're on the front lines making these calls or texting or marketing, you really have to understand and accept the idea that you need to be willing and sometimes trying to seek out a little bit of suffering to succeed. And you have to make peace with that. If you're the type of person who is like a people pleaser at heart, or you feel extremely uncomfortable when someone disagrees with you or is mean to you on the phone, you might have a serious problem in this business, is all I would say. So if that doesn't bother you and suffering to get to the goal doesn't bug you, then I think the mentality of having a result-based sort of like model is something, because that's the same thing that people working on their weight loss and stuff, like they have like mini goals and the results help them stay focused. I think especially in this instant gratification world, people need to get to certain goals sooner rather than later to stay focused if they're not already that way as a person.
Out of those 15 deals, what's your biggest deal? And do you have a total commission amount you're going to be making, a total deal amount, like all of those, if you don't mind sharing?
That's fine. The biggest commission deal is going to be $55,000. Yeah, the tax overages are around that sort of margin. A little less. I mean, a little. But I tried to get it. Yeah, that's the biggest. Nothing comes close to that. But like,
Yeah.
the total amount that I'm looking at, although I didn't add the most recent too, but it's going to be around like 150K. It's going to be around that.
Holy moly, 150K. Let's go, Belinda. Woo, let's go. That's awesome. Okay, 150K in 21 days, which is ridiculous. There you go. So people, it is possible. You gotta have the right mindset, and you gotta just start making calls. That's amazing. Now, is there any deal in particular? Some people, they've on their first deal or on one of their first 15 deals, apparently, they go through and they have, there's an interesting story that goes with it. Like, what's the craziest situation that you've talked to someone and ended up closing a deal with? Has anything crazy happened at this point? Are you going to
the big whale of the deals? I mean, it was ridiculous trying to find this person. Like, and then when I did find this person pretended as if they weren't the person because they were scared that I was a scam, and it was ridiculous. So it was like courting. Like, I kept following up, and I was like, look, I'm not, blah, 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 blah. Here's some more facts. This is actually something that happens a lot. I think that's also the only one where my follow-up with this call was like 5 times or something.
Yeah.
And I could feel that they wanted to trust me, but it felt so good to be true, etc., whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they saw my website. I did a Zoom call with them to show them I'm a real person. I mean, there was a lot going into like trying to help them see credibility. Like, I'm not crazy. I have a Facebook.
Right.
You could
exist.
Yeah. At first I was weary about using my personal Facebook. But I think it's better that I just keep my personal Facebook and had updated the surplus fund stuff on my Facebook, because at the end of the day, unless you're able to make a bunch of friends and family quickly on whatever new Facebook page you make for the business, if it comes to people wanting to know you're a real person, a new Facebook page is gonna freak some people out.
That's amazing. Okay, my last couple questions here are for people that are, maybe they're on the fence. Maybe they just saw the presentation. They're not like you, Belinda, where you're like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Maybe they need some time to think about it, or they just have maybe some concerns. What would you say to that person right now that's kind of on the fence about doing surplus funds?
Gotcha. Look, if you're on the fence about doing surplus funds because you just don't have the money yet to invest, I got you. Go get the money. But if you're on the fence wondering if it's something you can do, you can totally do it. If assuming that you're not scared of hard work, assuming that that there's something in you where you want to be your own boss, or you don't want a 9-to-5, or you want to be in control of your money and your destiny in that way, this really is super easy. At least maybe if you just want to get like one extra deal a year or a few extra deals a year, like this is totally doable. Yeah, and you're calling people up to let them know that you found money they probably usually didn't know they even had. There's a little friction because there's always skeptics, but there's definitely more people happy to get money. Yeah. Especially right now. So
right
there.
Right. That's amazing. So my last question for you is, if you could go back to the day that you joined the program, for someone that's maybe watching this interview and they just hopped in, they're excited, right? But as you said, they haven't had that moment yet where it's like, okay, I know this works, I can do this, right? But if you could go back to that first day and talk to them, what would you say to someone who just joined, who's just getting started?
I'd say, listen to Spencer with the mindset thing. Listen to that over again if you need to. I know, it's kind of long, but you need it. I'd also say, do everything he said, including finding an accountability buddy and someone who understands what that means. I have a few because they were so useful to me in every other real estate anything I've ever been in. And you can exchange gold information while moving up to the top and be encouraged. Like have a little buddy and you guys are encouraging each other while going up the mountain. Because the person who is my accountability buddy also has deals in the pipe right now and started around the same time as me. And is really young. I just don't know if she'd want me to put her business out there, but she's young. She just finished school, like, you know, and when she first started, she wasn't sure she was going to be successful at all, but jumping on the phone with me and I'm like, you got this, let's do this, let's crush this. And I wasn't always perfect. Like sometimes she'd have really interesting insight and she was totally new to the real estate game. And the only thing we had in common is that we're both new to surplus funds. So you'd be surprised. There's always interesting information back and forth and all that jazz. But yeah, I would tell the person, find an accountability buddy, a borderline crazy accountability buddy, someone who's really about action, for sure. And listen to Spencer and just do it and try to get that first deal as fast as possible. Massive action. In my opinion, I would also say try to go for massive action. And then after maybe the first deal or a couple days of massive action, you know, go for the 10 calls a day or 5 calls a day. But if you were trying to replicate anything I did, massive action.
Massive action. And you know, you're the right person to replicate. Like I said, 15 deals in 21 days is ridiculous. That's crazy, man. Which means, I mean, you still have some time to break the record. Julio's record is 16-30. So you have time to break the record.
Damn, what?
Yeah, 16-30. So
yeah, that's true.
Crazy. There you go.
Well, I have 20 follow-ups, so.
There you go. Just close 2 of those and the trophy is yours. We should actually make like a trophy for that or something. I feel like we should do something. I keep saying we're going to do it and we don't do it. But anyway, awesome. Well, Belinda, thank you so much for sharing your insight. I'm sure everybody appreciates it. I always appreciate it. It's always great to hear, our surplus warriors go out there and kill it.